YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my issues. Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for Power Rangers Universe Issue 4. This issue is where we really start to delve deep into the origins of the Phantom Ranger, finally. Before we get started though, I want to remind you guys to like this video if you enjoy it, and hit that subscribe button and that bell button so you get more notifications like this video and more. So, let's get started. We pick up where we left off, where the Squadron Rangers have just morphed. We've got the origins of that power. I think there's still more to be said about it and where that ends up. But now we shift focus a little bit to the Morphinaut and the Phantom Ranger, as they're all fighting the forces, and during the time when they're fighting the forces, I don't know why I'm calling them the forces, but the main bad guy is like taunting Morphinaut, saying, you know, this is all your fault, you have done that yourself, and he's just prequel memeing him. Not really, that would probably be more fun. In the fight, he realizes that he might be able to purify them and save them, because when the Squadron Rangers then show up and try to take him out, he's like, no, we can save them. There's still good in him, I know it. Lots of Star Wars in this one. Anyway, he winds up purifying the main bad guy, like the main henchman guy, and it turns out to be his friend from the very first issue that was helping him access the grid. And you kind of knew this was a thing, because I think it was issue 1 or 2, when like citizens of their town or whatever were getting taken over, and Morphinaut like grabbed one and started to purify him, and since the grid energy is like the anti-Dark Spectre energy, it makes sense. But effectively you learned that after he disappeared, his friend became obsessed with trying to find him, and all those negative emotions allowed Dark Spectre to take root, which led to this, and then she becomes one with the Force, I guess. But it was really good stuff. I really liked this. It was a lot of good character stuff for the Morphinaut. Not long after that, they get a communication from their parents, and they say that they're going to reconnect him to the Arch so they can get out of there, and then they start helping him reconnect the Arch or whatever they're doing to fix the problem. But then during that, Blue's like mad at their dad. You know, you basically totally left that. He's like, no, that's not what happened. He's like, yeah, you closed that gate pretty quick. And when they're getting mad, all their eyes start to get that Dark Spectre thing. Like, it starts with Blue, but then everybody gets the Dark Spectre thing, and you can see the Dark Spectre is starting to take root in them, and they all start arguing. It's kind of like that scene in Avengers when they're all around Loki's staff and, like, emotions run high, and you realize that effectively what happened to Morphinaut's friend is happening to them as Dark Rector. Dark Rector sounds like a porn name somehow. Anyway, Dark Spectre starts taking root in them, and Morphinaut's trying to stop it from happening. He's like, stop the madness! And he's effectively trying to convince Dark Spectre to take him as a host instead of the Rangers, because he has even more negative emotions because of all the guilt he feels over what happened. Because when they say it's his fault, what they mean is when he did these experiments to get into the grid, which wound up getting absorbed, he effectively not only opened the world up to Dark Spectre, but drew Dark Spectre's attention to the existence of the grid, which, as we know, is the anti-Dark Spectre, so he wants to destroy it. So effectively, everything that's happening is his fault, and at the end, he is successful, and Dark Spectre does take over him, and we get a version of the Phantom Ranger suit. It's missing the ruby right now. I'm going to imagine that's going to come into play next issue, which I think is the finale, into why he has like a version of that suit but isn't evil. And there was like a cool panel earlier too when he was fighting the main big bad, and they like stab him or blast him or whatever, and it creates like this inversion black gold color for a split second, which I think might have meant to have been foreshadowing, but actually that looks really cool. Like a black gold variant of Phantom Ranger Morphinaut would be really cool. This was probably my favorite issue so far. I thought it was really good. You know, the last few issues have been fairly straightforward. I felt like the first couple were kind of dense and it was kind of hard to follow. But then once things got simple, it was easier to just soak in the mythology stuff I was looking for, and it wasn't too complicated. But I think this one was kind of the right amount of, it wasn't too dense or weird or confusing, but there was a lot more meaty stuff to grab onto. That sounded. I like the stuff with Morphinaut. I think it was the most I've been invested in a more character-driven aspect. Like at times in this series, things get so confusing, there's so many characters. I don't feel exactly invested in the Squadron Rangers as individuals. I kind of felt a little bit of investment in them as a group in the last few issues, but not so much as individuals. I'm going to reread it probably a couple times when it's done, especially after I end up also picking up the little graphic novel book that compiles it, and hope to maybe find a little bit more attachment and investment to their characters. But I feel like the most part, the strength of this series has been the lore stories, which is fine. But what I liked about this is it gave us more expansion on lore and backstory, but it also made me invested in the Morphinaut character, and I thought it ended in a really cool place. I'm really curious to see, I wonder what fan reactions are to the Phantom Ranger. To be fair, I kind of avoid fan reactions because the fandom can be so, you know, sometimes, but I'm kind of curious what people are thinking of the Phantom Ranger reveal, because that's been a mystery for so long. And I know in the past, there was theories and I think behind the scenes things of what they considered, like Zordon's son or an Eltarian, Billy. I don't remember which ones were actually considered and which ones were just fan theories, but it's been a mystery since the 90s, and now we're finally getting the reveal. I get a feeling some people are probably disappointed. I'll admit there's only a small amount of disappointment for me, just because I think the mystery was built up so much, and then you're almost expecting it to be somebody you know, or somebody you know adjacent, or Jason. But I like this backstory. I think it's really cool. I didn't expect it to tie way back into the deep origins of Power Rangers, but I think it's pretty cool. I like it. Again, probably a small amount of disappointment, which is inevitable, just like Thanos, just because dread it, run from it, disappointment arrives all the same. My point is, what was I even saying? Inevitable something? And I think that disappointment was inevitable just because there's such a build-up. No matter what the answer is, there's always going to be a bit of a theory you clung on to before they got to Rey Skywalker. I guess the point is, I like it. I'm just curious to see what other people think, because I feel like reactions to the comic lore changes can be extreme. Anyway, before I make any more random Star Wars or Avengers references, I'm going to go ahead and score this. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, best issue yet. Really looking forward to the finale and seeing if any loose ends are tied up that I'm hoping. But until next time, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments of what you thought of the issue and what you think of Phantom Ranger's origins. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps to ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.